think you are a good judge of character research shows your brain uses a critical shortcut that makes you trust attractive people more even when they are wrong. You have done it, I have done it. We see a sharp-looking candidate in an interview and assume they are competent. We see a polished speaker on a stage and assume they are telling the truth. This is not a character flaw, it is a cognitive glitch hardwired into our thinking. This mental shortcut known as the halo effect quietly dictates who you trust, who you hire, and even who you date. And understanding how it works is the first step to reclaiming control over your own judgment and avoiding catastrophic errors in the people you bet on. This is not new age pop psychology. The concept dates back to 1920 to a psychologist named Edward Thorndike. In a paper titled A Constant Error in Psychological Ratings, Thorndike noticed something strange in how military officers evaluated their soldiers. When an officer rated a soldier highly on one specific quality like physique, they were overwhelmingly likely to rate that same soldier highly on completely unrelated traits like intelligence, leadership, and even character regardless of any actual evidence. Thorndike realized our minds do not assess people piece by piece. Instead, one single shining trait creates a halo that illuminates our entire perception of that person, blinding us to their flaws. So how does this ancient brain bug work in the modern world? It is all about cognitive ease. Your brain is an efficiency machine. It is much easier to create a simple, coherent story about someone than to hold two conflicting ideas at once. For example, the idea that someone can be both incredibly attractive and not very intelligent creates cognitive dissonance, a mental friction we instinctively avoid. So your brain cheats. It smooths out the edges. A landmark study confirmed this. Participants were asked to rate the quality of an essay. To trick some, were shown a photo of an attractive author, while others were shown a photo of an unattractive one. The exact same essay was rated significantly higher when attached to the attractive author. Their perceived attractiveness created a halo, making their words seem smarter. This happens every day in boardrooms, on social media, and in courtrooms where good-looking defendants often receive lighter sentences. For a chilling example of the halo effect's power, look no further than the case of Ted Bundy. Bundy was intelligent, charismatic, and conventionally handsome. This created a powerful halo that acted as a form of camouflage. His neighbors saw him as a helpful young man. His colleagues at a crisis hotline saw him as a dedicated volunteer. Even law enforcement initially struggled to connect this charming law student with the horrific crimes being committed. People's minds could not reconcile the positive, coherent image he presented with the monstrous reality. His halo was not just misleading, it was a weapon. The inverse is also true. It is called the horns effect. If someone has one prominent negative trait, say they dress poorly or speak with a stutter, we automatically downgrade our assessment of their intelligence and competence. Both the halo and the horns are two sides of the same cognitive coin, a shortcut that sacrifices accuracy for speed. Knowing the bias exists is not enough to defeat it. You need a system. Here is a 3-step framework to debias your judgment and start seeing people for who they actually are. First, isolate the traits. For any important judgment, force yourself to evaluate specific qualities independently. Do not ask, is this a good candidate? Ask, how do they rate on technical skill, from 1 to 10? How do they rate on communication, on teamwork? Evaluate each one separately before you allow yourself to form a general impression. Second, actively seek disconfirming evidence. This is a powerful technique championed by thinkers like Charlie Munger. When your gut tells you someone is great, make it your mission to find evidence to the contrary. Actively search for a flaw, a past mistake, or a weak point. This counteracts your brain's natural tendency to only see what confirms its initial bias. Third, use a blind evaluation when possible. In situations like reviewing resumes or proposals, remove the identifying information. Just like orchestras started using blind auditions to eliminate gender bias, you can use this to eliminate the halo effect. Focus purely on the substance, not the source. By installing these simple systems, you move from intuitive biased judgment to deliberate, clear-eyed evaluation. This process transforms you from a passive victim of your own psychology into an active architect of your perception. You stop judging the book by its cover, and you start actually reading the pages. Subscribe for weekly wisdom combining ancient philosophy with modern psychology, practical insights for living with depth and purpose.